There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. I wish this was a series and we could read more about these characters.
Well,
oh, do you know something?
Funny you said that. The book has been picked up by Fox Entertainment,
Ooh.
and there's a plan to make it into a series. I would watch every episode.
Yeah, if they do it right.
If they do it right. If they don't
sometimes these
mess it up.
TV things, not so good.
Right.
There is another little thing that I'll say was not my favorite about the book, and that was Caroline as a protagonist. I felt bad for her that her husband cheated on her. I don't know. I just thought she was a little too whiny. It also was not a good depiction of a modern woman. The whole thing with modern women is we move on. We deal with what we got to deal with. She has a job. Yeah, she got a job on the farm. I just thought she was a little too whiny for my taste, but that's me.
I thought Caroline was a good character, but I also thought she gave in to other people too quickly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what happened, but she did not
stand up for herself.
Right. She was working on it, but she wasn't very good at it. The story of Caroline, while it's separate from Nella's, it meshed a little.
That's what I said about how it lined up.
It lines up. The story has a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah.
It's predictable, I think.
Yeah, some of it was. But it's still, like I said, it doesn't take away from the story. I think that some of the things I was most intrigued with was, of course, the poison itself. It was so important to her that it get done correctly.
Well, she knew if something happened and she was found out, she was going to hang. What she was doing, no matter what good it did to get rid of some people, it was illegal. And there was no way that she was going to not hang. And the threat of that hanging over her head
absolutely
made a lot of things change in the book. Now, the character I enjoyed was Eliza.
How can you not like Eliza?
She wanted to help. She wanted to learn.
And she was only 12 years old.
12 years old, yes.
And when they said, it blew me away. And I think one of the funniest things in the book was when Eliza thinks her period is a ghost.
Yes. She thought it was a curse. Yeah. Of course, back then, who's going to tell somebody? It would be your mother. She didn't have a mother.
Yeah.
She went into serving Lady Clarence at the age of, I believe they said 9 when she arrived. She never had a mother figure. I guess Lady Clarence didn't think it was important.
She had to beg Nella for her to be her apprentice. Even once Nella agrees, she still really doesn't want.
She doesn't want to give up her secrets.
And I think that the reason why is because she didn't want anybody else to take a fall. This is where the story gets very poignant. And it's because Nella so desperately wanted a child, all of a sudden she kind of has a child because she's
very protective of Eliza. Nella's backstory is very sad. It's the reason she is what she is today. She was raised by a loving mother. As usual, there's a man involved. Things did not work out. Nella is a loner. She really doesn't want Eliza there, but she does want Eliza there. It's just one of those dynamics where you love her, but you want to push her away. Because if Eliza is caught, Eliza's going to hang too. The significance of the little bottle that Caroline finds, it has etched on it the figure of a bear. And that was how Nella sold her potions, so people would know Bear Alley is where she kept her shop. And if you needed a poison, drop in. And she would take care of the situation.
But you couldn't
write your name in the book.
That's not necessarily true because you couldn't just drop in.
Oh, no. She had to know.
I mean, you could drop in and buy other things, herbs, but you could not come in and get her poisons.
Right, unless you were approved.
Yes.
By Nella. She held that very close to her heart. And Eliza was trying to learn so she could take over. It's a very satisfying but sad conclusion.
I feel this book was a great interpretation of everyday life in the 1790s. Also, even for our protagonist in her life. I was immediately immersed in both of those cultures. Sarah is now definitely on my radar to read anything she puts out because I am a real fan now. Every character in the book was extremely fleshed out, and I felt appropriate to the timeline. And even though I said Caroline was a little too whiny for my taste, I do try to be sympathetic to that because I don't know what's going inside this woman's head, and we all have things we're dealing with. That's why it was very forgiving. Another thing is I've always been fascinated by home cures, and I have books on my bookshelf about remedies. And if there is a natural remedy, I'm going to try to use that before I reach for some medicine. So this was right up my alley as far as that goes. And as much as this is a story about murder, it was so balanced with a beautiful tale of hope and redemption.
If you read this book, I don't know if this is included in the book itself, the hard copy book. I read it online. But there is on the website for the Lost Apothecary, there is a discussion guide for your information that has questions to ask.
So this would be good for a book club.
Yes, but it also has recipe.
Ooh.
She gives a recipe for a rosemary butter biscuit cookie.
That sounds
which
delicious.
Sounds yummy. And she suggests to enhance your book club, I recommend you serve a tray of the rosemary butter biscuit cookies. And she gives 2 cocktail recipes. One is orange brandy and one is black cherry water, which is a non-alcoholic drink. But the cherry on the cake is there is a map of old London which shows all the sights.
Is there a real bear alley?
It says there is. I don't know if that's just something she made out. But then there is a Nella Clavinger's Apothecary of Poisons. And there are some recipes in here for hemlock julep. I am not recommending you use these. And I don't know if these are actually.
Probably, yeah.
She also has recipes for Tom Pepper's Hot Brew, Blackfire's Balm for bugs and boils. It's a fun resource on the back of the book or in the online section. Be sure and check that out too. It'll help understand a bit of the story. Sarah was born and raised in northeast Kansas. She grew up in a small log cabin nestled deep in the woods. This is where she lived until early adulthood, and it frames most of her memories. She began writing in 2015 after attending a moving lecture given by Elizabeth Gilbert. She was on tour for Big Magic, a game-changing book for creatives. Soon after her talk, she enrolled in her first creative writing class, and she hasn't looked back. She's an avid traveler, but her heart is stuck in London, as is mine. I love London. She graduated from the University of Kansas with a degree in finance. In 2021, after 13 years of corporate America, she left her day job and became a full-time writer. When she's not at the keyboard, you'll find her in the kitchen, the yoga studio, or running outdoors in the Florida heat. She married her best friend, Mark, and they're proud residents of Florida, where they live with their silky hair miniature dachshund, Zoe. And her website is sarahpenner.com. Be sure and check her out. That is a book we both recommend. We both loved it.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Trivia. Last week's question was Anthony Berkeley Cox, Agatha Christie, and Freeman Wills Crofts founded what in London in 1930? A. The Hemlock Society. B. The Diogenes Society. C. The Detection Club. Or D. The Sherlock Holmes Admiration Society. The answer is C. The Detection Club. The Detection Club was formed in 1930 by a group of British mystery writers, including Agatha Christie, Dorothy L. Sayers, Ronald Knox, Freeman Wills Crofts, Arthur Morrison, Hugh Walpole, John Rode, Josie Ricard, Baroness Emma Kersey, R. Austin C. Bailey, G. D. H. Cole, Margaret Cole, E. C. Bentley, Harry Wade, Constance Lindsay Taylor, and H. C. Bailey. Anthony Berkeley was instrumental in setting up the club, and the first president was G. K. Chesterton. There was a fanciful initiation ritual with an oath, probably written by either Chesterton or Sayers, and the club held regular dinner meetings in London. In addition to meeting for dinners and helping each other with technical aspects of their individual writings, the members of the club agreed to adhere to Knox's commandments in their writing, to give the reader a fair chance at guessing the guilty party. This week's question is, how did Walter Mosley make publishing history in 1997? A. He sold 1 million books. B. He self-published his books. C. He went with a small independent publisher. Or D. He signed the rights of his books to a friend. Good luck.
And that wraps up another episode of Dark and Stormy Book Club. We thank you for listening, and we hope you listen next week when we find some more books for you to read. Remember,
Life would be boring without a little mystery.
bye.